Welcome to Mystic Musings with Tobie Hewitt. I'm Tobie Hewitt, and I'm your guide through time and space and all points in between. Mystic Musings will give you insight into who you are, why you are here, how to live an authentic life, and where you fit into the universe around you. Join me on this path of mystical exploration. Welcome to Episode 5 of Mystic Musings with Tobie Hewitt. This week we will discuss creating your sacred space. What is sacred space? Well, sacred means being connected to the deity. It is a blessed space. What is the deity, you may ask? Well, many people in many different religions and cultures consider the deity many different things. But it basically boils down to the idea of a being who had some part in the creation of us and of the universe. I am not, as I may have said earlier in one of the earlier episodes, drawn to any particular deity of an established religion or culture. And so I have come to call that larger being the creative spirit, which created everything with and through the energy of love. We are all connected by the independent web, which are strands of connection vibrating with the energy of love. So we are created by and part of the deity. We are created by the deity, we're part of the deity, and the energy of that is the energy of love. Our sacred space is the space in which to contemplate our connection to that creative spirit, to that deity, to the universe as a whole. However we perceive that larger being to be, the sacred space that we create helps us to focus on the deity, the universe, the oneness that is around us. Now, all space can be considered sacred. Anywhere that you are. It's very easy when you're in a beautiful structure with stained glass windows and lovely places to sit and maybe a candle that's lit all the time. It's very easy to say, well, this is a sacred space. Or perhaps you're at the top of a mountain or by a beautiful lake. And you're overwhelmed by a feeling of peace and calm and love, and you recognize that as a sacred space. But it's also important for you to recognize that you can create a sacred space where you can contemplate that larger reality. So what are we doing? How do we set up that space through which you can contemplate your connection to the all, to the oneness of which you are a part? Well, the first thing you can do is start with the stone you found on your walk last week. Hopefully, at this point, you know where it is, and maybe you've given it some of your time and contemplation and enjoyed the fact that you and the stone have come to know each other better. I know this sounds a little bit on the odd side, but bear with me. It'll get more obvious as time goes on. Now, when you're trying to put together a sacred space, items come to you, or you have to go find them. All items that have a deep meaning for you, that resonate with you, that create a vibration in sync with your spirit, that you feel something, that something happens when you pick these items up, or when you just sit there in contemplation of them. You may want to go on another nature walk and see if you find other stones or feathers. You may want to go to a New Age shop and try to find crystals or objects that speak to you. You might want to find other items that will come to you over time. It is nice to have items that reflect and represent parts of nature, the air, fire, water, and earth, which are used in ceremonies in various cultures and various modalities of worship or recognition of the universe around us. Feathers, especially feathers that you find outside in your path, which are many times, most times, presents to you from the universe. You could put a small dish or cup of water. You can have candles. I prefer white candles, and incense, which lends a lovely atmosphere to what you have around you when you're doing this. It reminds you that you're in a different space than your normal everyday waking space. I have sacred spaces all over my apartment. These remind me of my wider connection to the universe. So we're going to take a little walk through my little space here, and I'll try to describe to you some of the things that I have. Next to my writing space, I have what I best call my Native American, my indigenous American sacred space. I have turkey feathers that were given to me as a present. I have crystals. I have a incense holder that is a shape of a Native American woman, I think Navajo, seated in a meditative pose. There are other crystals, another incense holder. I'm just looking around. There is a figure, a metal figure of a blue Kachina doll on top of a rock with a beautiful hole in the middle of it that reminds me of the time when I met my healing spirit guide, Nakoma, and that she presented to me when I was going through a thrift shop. She said, okay, now you go and you look, and I'm going to give you something. I'm going to show you something. And the word Kachina came to me. So I looked all over this place, and this is what I found. And the rock is from Sedona, which to me is a very high spiritual place. Okay, so I keep this here, and there's candles, and there's feathers. There's a Native American ocarina, which is a musical instrument. So as we go along, I have the space where I put my crystals so that they gain sunlight or they're cleansed in the light of the moon, so I can use them when I make grid patterns, which we'll get into in another episode. And so this is a sacred space, but it's not one that I would normally contemplate. It's where I might pick up something to put in one of my sacred spaces. Let's see, as I go around, I'm actually walking around. I have a lovely array of plants. Plants are very important to sacred space. The living being, again, with you in the same space that you're in. I have an altar dedicated to the feminine, which has all sorts of goddesses and Kuan Yin and candles and a lotus and even a candle here that's dedicated to the writer Virginia Woolf. Now, as I go along around my apartment, I'm actually moving while I'm talking to you, I come to my sacred space that I consider my altar. Now, if I'm going to do some work, if I'm going to do a ritual for one of the 4 quarters, the 2 solstices or the equinoxes, I will sit here and I will contemplate the items here, and some of them are of a pagan, I don't like that word particularly, but a mystical paradigm. So I will have a bowl for water, I have candles, I have incense holder, I have all sorts of crystals. I have a goddess figure holding another goddess figure. I don't even know why. I've got feathers. Let's see, what else? I have a small Yoda from Space, whatever the name of that movie is, that Yoda figure. And So I have that, and I'm able to just remember his wisdom, and so that comes to me too. I also have a snake that I created when I was as a little girl, and snakes are very important to my idea of the sacred. Also, I have pieces of driftwood. So you see that all of these things come together. Here's another place of sacred items that I have as I go around. So, and I have crystals next to my bed. I have things everywhere that remind me of who I am in the universe. Star Wars, I'm sorry. It's early in the morning here. Where was I? At my desk, I also have crystals, and once in a while I will put my hand on a crystal and connect to that wider universe. We're going to talk about crystals and chakras and everything further on, but because right now we're just trying to find your sacred space, your place where you can be, and you can contemplate the universe around you and in you. Okay, so all space can be sacred. You could carry a stone or a crystal with you. You can stop, breathe, and know your oneness with the universe. And the beauty of having your own sacred space, even if it's a few crystals, a little thimble of water, a little teeny candle, whatever you have, it means that you're recognizing, you are telling the universe that you are recognizing that you are part of it, that you understand that your spirit is connected to all the other spirits around the world and across the universe. And that in that there is that sense of peace and blessing and love that is available to you at all times, because you are a mystical creature. So when you are able to take your stone out, when you're wherever you are, your stone or your crystal, you can stop for a moment, you can stop, you can breathe, and you can recognize your oneness. Now here's the exercise for this week. Stand or sit in your sacred space. Light a white candle and perhaps some incense. Pick up one of the crystals and hold it gently in your hand. Focus softly on your array of sacred items and know that each has been brought to you for a reason. Each one supports your spirit in some way and serves to remind you of your connection to the universe around you and that portion that resides inside of you, your own sacred spark. Close your eyes and let go of thoughts as these arise, and simply focus on the gentle feeling of oneness. Just focus on being one with the universe, that you are not a separate entity. You are not an island unto yourself. You are part of the wider universe, and everything is connected to you as you are connected to it. Know, absolutely, that you are both blessed and you are a blessing. Next week, please join me for episode 6, when we will look at the practice of mindfulness as we continue our mystic journey. Blessings.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Mystic Musings. Please join me every week to continue our exploration of all things mystical that can help you have a more practical and magical life. Please visit my website, TobieHewitt.com, for more information and to read my blog postings. And join me also at pathwaystomindfulness.org to learn how you can schedule a presentation. I'm available for mindfulness training, demonstrations of psychic abilities, and individual readings. I also have a number of books on mystical topics on Amazon.com. I look forward to hearing from you and answering your questions. Please contact me through TobieHewitt.com.